and boots on the ground military warfare and your fucking cousins and your family members have been killed, you'd probably think your cause is righteous to kill them too. Guess what? You don't even have that threat and you still think it's okay to fucking eviscerate entire regions. You understand? You don't even have that threat and you still think it's okay to just fucking murk people. So imagine how they feel.
Poo poo piker. Daddy Hassan. 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 Poo poo piker.
Arab culture is incompatible with the West is a common excuse.
Daddy
yeah,
Hassan.
incompatible with the West in the sense that Western influence and like Western statecraft has directly led to Arab culture losing sight of like the golden age of Islam era level of progress for the longest fucking time. Yeah, we talked about the dying patients thinking COVID is fake. Here, let's get some hopium from our very own Antonio Fauci. Hopefully he's got some good hopium about the holiday seasons and whatnot.
We're in the midst of a transition. Have you been able to speak to President-elect Biden or any members of his COVID team?
I have not had contact with the president, with the vice president Biden. No, I have not, Jim.
Okay. Biden said yesterday, and we just played this, that more people may die if the outgoing administration and the incoming administration don't coordinate. I wonder if you agree. Does this delay potentially cost lives?
Well, the only thing I can say, Jim, is that transitions are important. And if you don't have a smooth transition, you would not optimize whatever efforts you're doing right now. As you know, Jim, I've had the opportunity to serve 6 administrations, which amounted to 5 transitions. So I have been involved as a health person in the transition, and it is really quite important. As I used the metaphor the other day, it's kind of like a relay race in which you're passing the baton and you don't want to slow down what you're doing, but you want the person to whom you're giving the baton to be running with it as opposed to stopping and starting all over again. And that's the reason why it's important in every level to have a smooth transition.
What specifically, just so folks at home understand, what is lost? What would those communications be like now? What would the baton passing look like if there was communication like that?
Well, first of all, you can talk about things like what is the level of supply that's available? What is the utilization of PPEs? What about the hospital beds that the various members of the current coronavirus task force are in communication with the health groups in different states, getting interaction at a formal level with the governors, understanding every detail of the vaccine program, not only the 2 vaccines that have fortunately been shown to be very effective, but where are we in Operation Warp Speed with regard to the other candidates which are coming into their own in the sense of clinical trial, accumulating data. All of those things can be done in partnership.
That sounds to me, as a layman, as things that matter, things that would make a difference.
Yeah, of course they would. As I mentioned, you know, I can recall in the transition that we had from the Obama administration to the Trump administration, that then Chief of Staff Dennis McDonough worked with Reince Priebus and brought several of us together to talk about how we had handled Ebola, how we had handled Zika, to give them an idea of the kinds of things that you need to do. I mean, it's easy to hear about it in the news and to read about it, but when you sit down with somebody and talk about what went wrong, what went right, that's important.
Okay, let's talk, if we can, about the next several weeks.
Okay, this is a 10-minute video, so I'm just going to run the ad right now. It's top of the hour every hour, 6-second ad break. If you would like to have an ad-free broadcasting experience, all you need to do is subscribe. You can do it with a Twitch Prime, which is free by connecting your Amazon account to your Twitch Prime account. Or you can do it with a $5 a month subscription, or there's ad blockers and stuff that Twitch is constantly fucking ripping apart. So here's the ad.
We're at more than 100,000 cases, new infections a day, approaching 200,000 a day. Where do you see those numbers go in the next several weeks?
Well, they are going to go up, Jim, and that's the reason why I keep, almost pleading with the American public that clearly we're not going to have a national shutdown, but we need to intensify common, easy to do, relatively speaking, public health measures that are not shutting down the country, not shutting down the economy. The uniform wearing of masks, let's get it straight. They work, use them. The next is avoiding congregate settings, particularly indoor, keeping distance that we talk about, to the extent possible doing things outdoors, preferentially to indoors, and washing your hands frequently. We've got to get that point across. Vaccines are important, but the important issue is that we don't want the extraordinary success of these two vaccines to get people to be complacent. I've often said help is on the way, but help is not here yet. So one of the things we need to do is to use the success of the vaccines to get people to be motivated to hang in there a bit longer and double down on the public health measures without necessarily shutting down the country. You can continue to do activities which are good for the economy, but still adhering to the public health measures that we're talking about. I just can't understand why there's pushback against that. They're not that difficult to do. And they save lives. They save lives.
No question. It's in the science. We repeat that on this program virtually every day. Are there things that should close while others remain open? For instance, we've seen in Europe, there's been some success with closing restaurants.
Okay, here's the difference, okay? Are you ready for this? Our government doesn't fucking help. We, for some weird reason, are completely against government intervention. And I mean, like, those in power are completely against it. I know what the reason for why they are completely against it, but they've been able to very effectively get the hogs on the ground, you and I, and our friends and family members, to also believe that government intervention is always wrong. That's big government. That's big government. That's communism. Rugged American individualism and American exceptionalism is such a cancerous mentality that it is killing Americans. Okay? Donald Trump bailed out the farmers after his tariff wars with China to the tune of $36 billion. Not a single person fucking glanced at that. Not a single person got mad at that. That kind of government intervention is always overlooked. People don't get mad at that. As a matter of fact, some of the people, some of the farmers literally said it's not enough. Government intervention is only considered a moral hazard when it comes to the working poor. AOC is purposely not responding to your DMs, Hassan. Yeah, I saw. My DMs haven't worked in 3 months. Please help. Y'all are all fucking under this. It's not because she watched your stream. Hooray, you see it wasn't you. There's still hope, my guy. Now we know. Y'all are so fucking annoying, dude. Why are they against it? Wouldn't having the pandemic in control help Trump get elected? Anyway, as I was saying, the reason why European countries have been able to control coronavirus in a much better, much more effective way is because the government's just giving them money. The government is giving people money. They're like, hey, you need to lock down. You need to lock this shit down. We're going to pay you. That's it. That's literally it. And for a brief moment in the United States of America, we had an incredible welfare state for like 3.5 minutes where everyone got $600 extra, or we're supposed to get $600 extra in unemployment benefits. That was a brief moment that was so good for Americans that like it saved millions of lives. It literally recovered our economy faster. And it truly was the sole reason why people didn't immediately start dying when 60 million Americans were unemployed. Yeah, not exactly how it works over here, Azan. And that wasn't even, and we needed to do more than that. Like, we needed to do more than just the unemployment insurance. Yeah, that's not really how it worked. I'm confused. How is that not how it worked? For 60 million Americans that lost their fucking jobs as a consequence of COVID, they were able to get not only their regular unemployment, if they were lucky, if they didn't live in like fucking Florida or some shit, but on top of that, they literally got $600 extra a week. That absolutely, it just demotivated people to work. Yeah, you're fucking brain dead, okay? You're fucking brain dead! The whole point is demotivating people to work! And it's not even true! Don't come in here with these fucking idiotic brain dead. I studied Econ 101 takes. The moral hazard is a moral hazard. Suck my fucking dick. God damn it, dude. God fucking damn it. It's so stupid. You're such a fucking smooth-brained idiot, dude. Oh, it's a moral hazard. I took Econ 101. It's a moral hazard only when you give money to the working poor who literally functionally fucking spend it better in more productive ways than the wealthy do, in a better way for the economy. That's why retail spending was up 17% in the middle of the fucking pandemic, dipshit, because we gave people money. That is literally why the economy recovered faster. No, it's called a fucking stimulus. Shout at them. I have a fucking master's in this shit, for fuck's sake. Wait, oh, that's not the same person. Never mind. I was about to yell at them by saying, like, the dude who has a master's is fucking more brain dead than the dumb himbo. I thought you were... Regardless. Where were we? Where is that fucking data dipshit? I want to see him defend his take. People got more money than they would when they were fucking working. But that's not the fault of the government. That's the fault of how our system currently works. Instead of yelling at the government for giving too much money to the unemployed at a time when they were unemployed, when they literally could not fucking fraud the system. Just so you understand, like, so many people were like, well, what if I fucking quit my job? Well, then you get no unemployment. Like, that's not how that fucking works. Like, you didn't have access to those funds if you were like, oh, I'm going to get more money if I fucking quit my job. Like, that's not literally how it works. It's literally not how it works. You can have an econ degree. You can talk about this all you want, but it does not matter.
Reminder: this guy didn't finish Dark Souls. Don't believe his lies. Frida? Mod check Mida? Mod check L? Mod check.
And the reason why we're paying people is so they don't fucking kill themselves and die. Okay? You either pay people so they can keep surviving, so that the global economy can continue, because America is a consumer nation. We have to consume. If we don't have money, then this entire fucking thing falls apart. Okay? Not just the American economy, but the global economy relies on us constantly buying garbage over and over again. Okay? The whole point was so that these people who lost their jobs could have money. The whole point was that these people who are not making the same amount of money could have at least some fucking protection. Okay? And that's why it was successful. I'm gonna go ahead and even say that, like, if Trump had passed maybe a second stimulus package in a similar vein, who knows what the election outcome would look like.
Defrage my PhD in econ says the only
who the fuck knows?
Is not finishing DS3.
We did a better job of dealing with COVID. Who knows what the fucking election would look like?
No Bannerino.
Pretty clear you have no idea how the stock market works. It's fake. It's gambling. I'm sorry. I'm gonna ban you so that you no longer can spread your gambling addiction in here. I'm in the service industry. Most of my workers were making the same or a little bit more. The situation right now is dire for my coworkers. We have barely any customers, and we already have run at half staff across the board. Most people are only making around 65% of their hourly of what they used to make, from $17 hourly to around $11, and they work anywhere between 50% to 80% of the hours previously. It's unsustainable, and a shutdown and relief is the only way to save the industry. Exactly. And by the way, that's why we did that as well. Like, wait, what? Do you think that the people that got fired and are getting $600 to help pay the rent are buying new Teslas and iPhones, which were giant spikes in false recovery? That's not what spiked the economy, though. It was the increased concentration of individual investment in the stock market. The retail market didn't start booming just because people got $600 a week. There are other factors like availability of goods, aka the lack of eating in restaurants, that got people to have to eat at home more. Wait. No, literally, people had more money, so they started purchasing more. What are you trying to say? I'm confused. Even if you're getting a new car, even if you're literally going out and getting a new car, you now have actual fucking money.
WTF is this dude talking
to be
about?
able to make car payments. They went and they fucking purchased goods.
Why, Jack?
I'm a nightclub owner. We're truly fucked. Our entire industry. I'm fortunate enough to have managed my debt in 2019, but my entire industry in San Diego no longer exists. Yeah, same in fucking California. Like, across the board, the hospitality industry is the one that took the most hits. If you own a nightclub, you're fucked. If you own a bar, you're fucked. If you own a hotel, you're fucked. Even the gigantic amount of recovery offered to big hotel chains is not going to be enough to weather the storm.
Ty for making quarantine tolerable. Thanks for being the internet's best himbo.
So that's not the sectors of the economy that recovered and reflect in market that people think is currently doing good. I'm saying tech sector spikes, so nothing good is actually happening for the people. Oh, you're saying that it's a false recovery. I'm not saying the economy recovered. I'm simply stating that retail recovered across the board, and specifically you saw spikes in tech, but it doesn't matter. It's because people had fucking money.
Slap my cheeks, Turkish daddy.
If they had more money, they could continue spending more. Especially poor people, because poor people make their money work. Poor people have to fucking put it back into the economy, whereas rich people don't have to.
Car companies even lowered interest rates to entice people to buy cars and boost purchases.
It's a false recovery, not because not because poor people got money. It's a false recovery because poor people didn't get enough money. For the people that don't understand, the stimulus was to use or save, but you still used it if you got the money. These dudes that finished Dark Souls apparently don't know using an Estus flask still help you through the atrocious, through Artorias the first time assets. Wow. That's a really unique way. I've never heard anyone use a DS3 debate in that way. I love that. Bars are booming out here. Yeah, if you're in a fucking place like Texas or some shit where it literally doesn't matter. Look, the point I was trying to make is this, okay? You either get the government to give you money and shut this shit down for a little bit, especially in specific industries that can't fucking... Oh, it's Florida, of course. Obviously. You either get the government to give you money and you get everyone to stay at home so that it's easier for like people working in the front lines for the time being to safely and securely deliver food to you, and so you can easily go out and get groceries without killing someone. Either that's how you do it, or you just deny that it exists, deny that it's a problem to begin with, and act like nothing is going wrong when fucking hundreds of thousands of people are literally dying all around us because you're like, we can't give you money. Like, the worst thing you can do is tell people to sit at home, force their businesses to close, and then not give them anything. And that's what America is trying to do. That's what America's trying to do in the woke parts. And what America's trying to do in the not so woke parts is literally, yeah, we're not shutting anything down. It's so fucked. And that's the reason why it works a little bit better in European countries. Whenever COVID hits, COVID spikes, they're like, all right, we're shutting this shit down. We are increasing restrictions. We are increasing restrictions on certain businesses. Everyone needs to stay at home. If there's a full shutdown,
take it from someone.
You can't be outdoors. You cannot be outside for no reason whatsoever. You can't go to the fucking cafe or whatever. You have to have a good reason to be outdoors. You have to be working for one of these like essential businesses, right? And we're gonna give you money.
Poggies.
We're gonna help you. I mean, I think in the Daily covered this today. Like, is it in Germany or Belgium where they're like even giving fucking freelance artists money? I believe the concept you were talking about in regard to how poor people spend money refers to the velocity of money, which is about money that is put back into circulation and the number of entities that is exchanged with, aka not being held in the rich people's coffers. Yes, poor people spend more than 100% of every dollar they earn. Rich people do not. Trump would rather not push through another economic recovery plan despite Steve Bezos. What? They talked about you on NPR today. Nice. Oh, it was in Germany. As a landlord, I see a lot of my tenants just collect welfare and shit and not work at all. I know that this is a DSD troll, but like this is so fucking triggering that like if you do that, I'm gonna ban you. Don't do that. There is like a step too far. Stop doing that. Like, it's not funny. Okay.
Because of the prevalence of cases there. Do you want to, are there specific steps you would recommend short of then a national shutdown?
Well, yes. And, you know, if you look at the local level,
of course, you would want that more people stay home. You benefit directly from that. Yeah, I do. You know how I benefit directly from that, though? Not because people will start watching me more, which they will, certainly. But I benefit directly from that so that if we get over the fucking hump, okay, and we can ease the restrictions a little bit, I can maybe go out and get laid. All right? I can maybe go out to a fucking cafe. I just want to return to normal. I'm losing my fucking mind just like you are. Okay? I'm trapped in here by myself too. So shut the fuck up. All right? Shut your stupid fucking mouth. I want this shit to end. Republicans, ironically, who are like, no, this shit doesn't begin to begin with, are the ones who are extending this process.
Local authorities, particularly governors and mayors, know that in their own particular location and region of the country. But in general, what we're seeing when you look at what the CDC's analysis, the places of high vulnerability are bars, are restaurants, particularly if you have indoor at full capacity, is very difficult. Any kind of congregate settings are difficult. So what we're seeing, we're not going to see a national lockdown, but what we're seeing, certain local people, be they mayors or leaders in the community, doing selected closing of places that are highly vulnerable. Clearly among them are bars and anything that has congregate setting, particularly indoors.
Can you keep schools open safely through this?
You know, I think in many respects you can. As I've always said, Jim, and I'll repeat it now, the default position to be try as best as possible to keep the schools open. But you've got to have not one size fits all. You've got to take a look at what is going on in the particular location where you're at. But we should be trying to keep the children in school as safely as we possibly can. And that is getting resources to the schools to allow them to do things while keeping it open, maybe in a hybrid fashion, maybe in doing some physical separation, maybe alternating classes in certain ways. I don't want to dictate that from here to the school.
Why are they so horny for keeping kids in schools? Because it's incredibly important. Even in fucking Europe, where there's like full lockdown measures in place, they're still trying to keep schools open. I've said this before. You guys fucking yelled at me for the longest time. Schools are so fucking important. Schools are so important for social development of kids. Like, it's also free daycare, obviously. That's a key part of like keeping shit intact, but it is supremely important. Like, setting back children, an entire generation of kids by 1 year is going to have some significant consequences. Dude, don't ban me for this, but you did say schools should be closed at the start of this. You made fun of Sweden for not closing their schools. No, I fucking argued and changed my position, actually. I argued over and over again relentlessly in the beginning of COVID that I wanted schools to be open because of how important they are. And they literally fucking... My audience shit on me all the time, nonstop. I have, like, school nurses in here that were yelling at me about how fucking devastating it is to keep schools open or to reopen the schools after the peak. That's what actually happened, which I changed my mind on, by the way, because it was very clear that we weren't going to do... we weren't going to take the necessary measures to ensure that kids were safe. No, I said schools should be open and change my mind later. You're misremembering. I said schools should be open and then change my mind to no, they should be closed. You're literally misremembering. It's the exact opposite of how you remember it. It doesn't matter, though, because they should be fucking closed. I think that they should, either be able to, if they're going to open schools, they have to be
knowledge
incredibly
like
careful.
COVID-19
And in the
7 days
United
a week.
States of
You
America,
brought me to
we don't
Twitch,
do
thanks,
that.
Hassan Hassel.
We just don't fucking do that. Wait, what is your stance now? I still think that at the peak, we're going to have to shut down schools for a little bit. Schools shut down all around the country right now. I changed my mind. I originally said schools should be open. And now I think that if we can't open schools safely, then no, they shouldn't. Yeah, your position was that they should remain open, but once you saw that they couldn't take the proper precautions, you changed your position. Yeah. I want to protect as many people as possible. And I know your chat won't get this yet, but my 8-year-old is really depressed and seeing a therapist. Yeah. Like, it's a huge problem. Did you just change your mind just now? No.
Mike Pence has a tiny PP. 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 Mike Pence has a tiny PP.
Guys, I'm going to tell you once again what I think about schools, okay? They are profoundly important for social development for kids. They also provide food programs, which didn't stop for the most part, because without that, millions of families that are food insecure would not have access to nutritious food. So they did still keep their fucking food programs in place even when schools were closed, which was huge. They're also important for, they act as a daycare, as something that the kids can do for the entire day. And most importantly, it helps kids develop socially. These are really, really incredibly important reasons for why schools should stay open, but not no matter what. Originally, I said schools should open no matter what, and I changed my position when I saw what the fuck was going on. I changed my position in accordance with new data and new evidence. And right now, my take is that schools are getting closed regardless. Schools are getting closed all around the country no matter what, because teachers get fucking sick with COVID. And then they're like, boom, time to shut this shit down. I feel like some people are really horny to get a gotcha on you. Yeah, which is weird to me because, like, if I'm wrong, I admit it and I change my position. And then you guys, some of you get mad at me for doing that and call it a flip-flop. Like,
they have to buy their own PPE.
What the fuck do you want me to do? Do you want me to just... No, I'm going to stay on the original position that I had.
Because I'm not there, but do what you can to keep the children and the teachers safe, but try as best as possible to keep the schools open.
The vaccine news, as you note, remarkable in the span of a few days. Two, not one, but two vaccines showing remarkable efficacy here. Just for you to chance to speak to the American public right now, some of whom have questions about a vaccine, based on the data you've seen, would you yourself take one of these vaccines and recommend it to members of your own family?
You know, the answer, Jim, is yes. I mean, I will ultimately take a good look at the data, as will actually the rest of the country be able to hear from people.
This is a really shitty take, dude. You think schools are important for social development? School completely fucked my social development permanently. It ruined my life. The way I was treated by other people there and teachers led me to being a complete social outcast. Okay. All right. I guess then we should just ban schools. A good take. Like, I'm sorry that happened to you, but you understand that that's not how this works, right? Like, that's your personal experience. And that's terrible, and I'm sorry that happened to you, but again, I'm still right as far as schools being fundamentally important, profoundly important in teaching children how to socialize with one another.
Ban schools.
And we're on Twitch, so there's probably a lot of people who feel that way. I hear this all the time from people whenever I shit on homeschooling. There's people who are in here that are homeschooling right now, that have been homeschooled for those same reasons. People that have a lot of time to spend money and time on Twitch oftentimes have similar experiences like that. So it's overrepresented in this audience and in the Twitch audience as a whole, but that still doesn't change the reality that no, schooling is still a necessity.
People like me. So what they need to understand, Jim, is that the process is transparent and independent. You have to trust me on that. The Independent Data and Safety Monitoring Board looked at that data and judged that this was an effective vaccine to the point of 95 events, 5 in the vaccine, 90 in the placebo.
And this is, I say this as someone who's also been bullied. So, like, I feel you. I know it sounds impossible because you look at me now and you're like, there's no fucking way. You're a liar. You're just trying to, like, win brownie points or whatever. But no, I was bullied all the fucking time. I myself was a social outcast who spent most of his time drawing anime and Dota characters in class. Didn't really fucking talk to that many people. And got bullied relentlessly. Did. And I was fat as fuck too, on top of everything else. It was just terrible. It was, look, high school was fucking horrible, okay? I hated it. That doesn't change my position on how important school is. Things got a lot better in college, and post-college, it's awesome. So I'm here to tell you that things do get better. You just got to fucking keep your head down, focus on self-improvement, okay? And try to make it work and make your life a little bit better for yourself, no matter what.
Hassle.
It does get better. I am a great example of that. Hassan play with toys? Yeah, dude, I played with toys I was like fucking 15 years old, okay?
We don't need no
like,
education.
I played with toys, like action figures, until I was like fucking 15. Like, so much so that I had to hide them whenever someone was walking past my room, because if my mom or dad knew that I was playing with toys, I was worried that they were going to think like, oh, there's something wrong with my fucking kid. I've talked about this stuff before, but if you're not aware of it, like, here, I'll catch you up. Okay? Hide him under my fucking pillow.
You went from getting bullied to bullying Ben Shapiro.
Did you have a toy axe on the wall behind you? Yeah, I mean, that's different now. Anyway. No, I'm talking, when I say play with toys, I don't mean, chat, when I say play with toys, I don't fucking mean like making Gundams or painting like Warhammer 40K figurines or something. I mean like literally straight up fucking getting like action figures with many points of articulation and putting them in combat sequences that I made up in my mind, like literally fucking like role-playing action figures fighting one another in my imagination. Okay? Part of me wishes I still had that level of creativity and imagination now, but it was something that I had to push away so that I could grow up. It's normal. Yeah, it's normal to do when you're, even when I talk about it now, I feel embarrassed. It's normal to do when you're fucking 10. It's not normal when you're like in high school, okay? And I was in high school and I was doing that shit. And even then it's normal and it's actually good. And people should be able to do that. Anyway, I don't know how the fuck we got here. I feel uncomfortable talking about this. I'm oversharing. Had you been laid though? No, of course not, man. I fucking lost my virginity when I was 18. What are you, crazy? I didn't lose my virginity in Turkey.
At Hasan Pogo.
Did you pull mad bitches in high school? What? No. I've talked about this before. Like I have What was this? Like, this was one of my favorites. This is. It's not this. Someone told me what it was, but I don't remember. What was it, guys? It was like the stick figure action figures that came with like so many. It's not Stickman. It was like a stick figure action figures that came in like different packs that had
Hunter Biden has horse
Stick
meat.
fast.
Hunter Biden has horse
Yeah,
meat.
yeah,
Hunter
yeah,
Biden
yeah.
has horse meat. Hunter Biden 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 has horse meat.
This shit, dude. I had the night one. I love this shit.
A lot of the girls I meet say they prefer toys over me as Sag.
The night one wasn't my favorite though. My favorite was like the soldier one. The military one was fucking dope. I had the cowboy one too. I had the samurai one. That was really good. There was a ninja one.
Hassan, I'm relating to you too much. It's concerning hassle.
I'm gay and 20 and I've been closeted all my life because I have a conservative family, so I haven't even held a boy's hand. Sag. My man used Haas Sag. But it's okay. But it's normal for gays, I guess. Dude, get out there and fucking kiss some dudes right now. I mean, in your own speed, obviously. Not to pressure you to do anything you don't want to do, but listen, you gotta. This is not from personal experience, but from what I've heard. This is you got to make the most of it. Okay, you got to use that as an exciting opportunity for yourself, where the stakes are really high.
Hey Hassan,
Stakes that you might never be able to feel again.
I've never been this excited before. I can't wait to finally be a dad.
Of course, don't do it now because right now it's COVID. Please just read a take of mine for once, Sag. I don't even ask for you to agree, obviously. God damn, dude. Haven't touched a woman since February, lol. Anyway, this is the shit I used to play with. Like, this was one of my favorites. The other one was, I had those, like, massive points of articulation. Oh my God, how the fuck did you find this? It's so embarrassing. That's so fucking embarrassing. I don't even know what.
Damn, we'll only ask for cake.
That's so incredibly
I have
embarrassing.
not touched or talked to another human being in 6 months.
Okay, we're done with this. All right, we're done. We're done. We're opening up. We're opening up
Hey
too
Hassan
much.
and chat, I want to get a good mouse. Any suggestions? Also love you Hassan.
Tell
and
the
chat
younger
Hass.
gay guy to be careful. Older men take advantage of inexperienced gay teenagers far too often. That's
Hey.
there's more. I did a bunch of Flash animation. I don't know if I'll ever be able to find it. That's your magnum opus? No, my magnum opus was at Parsons. I took like a summer course in Parsons when I learned about two-dimensional design and like started doing Flash
Keep it
animation. Okay, we're done. We're done with all this. All right, we're moving on from the COVID story. Here, Dr. Cuomo, exchange between Senator Brown and Sullivan on
So
masks.
if there's no further business coming before the Senate, I ask to stand adjourned under the previous order, following the remarks of Senator Brown.
Without objection. President,
Give bugs next.
Senator from Ohio.
I'd start by asking the presiding officer to please wear a mask as he speaks, and people below him are, I can't tell you what to do, but
Mons, can you nuke the DeviantArt shit, please?
I know that the behavior.
I don't wear a mask when I'm speaking, like
Annoying.
most senators.
Stop spamming it.
Most senators.
So but I don't need your instruction from.
I know you don't need my instruction, but there clearly isn't much interest in this body in public health. We have a president who hasn't shown up at the coronavirus task force meeting in months. We have a majority leader that calls us back here to vote on an unqualified nominee and at the same time to vote for judge after judge after judge, exposing all the people who can't say anything, I understand, the people in front of you and the presiding officer, and expose all the staff here, and the majority leader just doesn't seem to care. Mr. President, the American people sent a clear message in this election. They voted for stability. They rejected an administration that has failed them in the middle of a public health crisis and an economic crisis. People want a government that works for them and is on their side. My colleagues in both parties know this. I know some of you feel like you have to humor the outgoing president, continue to make excuses for him, continue to run from the media when they might ask a question.
So let's talk about
What the fuck? That's it? I wish it was longer. Okay, so we're gonna watch this conversation, but before we watch this conversation, I have a question. Who's the guy on the left? Is that Pim Tool? Because it seems like he's capable of doing remote broadcasting. And if I remember, in our personal correspondence that also leaked to the world, I told him, I would love to come on a show, but we would have to do it remotely, and he said that that's an impossibility. He said that he doesn't know how to do video calls, that his studio does not have the technical capabilities of doing a video call. Said the same thing to Sam as well. I don't understand it.
Antifa. So you covered Antifa on the ground. We've been told by the media that Antifa are alternatively World War II era Allied troops storming the beaches of Normandy. We've been told by Joe Biden that they are not, in fact, a group, that they are, in fact, just sort of a philosophy, sort of like cubism or something, like an artistic movement.
Okay, but it is true. Like, that's literally true. It is not an organized body. It is an action. It is a philosophy. It does not exist when fascism does not exist.